All right, guys, today we're checking out our custom vinyl wrap kit for the Freego X2 Pro. All right, I'll try to keep this video short and sweet. So we're in the shed right now, single digit weather here in Michigan. We got the diesel heater running, so apologies if this is a little bit noisy. So I posted a couple of pictures, some videos with the Freego X2 Pro and my custom vinyl wrap kit. And a couple of people messaged me asking, where did you get that kit? How can I get one? And so essentially I made my own and I have it available on a big cartel site, so you can purchase the template. Now I'll just go over what I did, why I did it, and if you want to get your own kit, I'll put a link in the description. So before we start, let's talk about the pros and cons of wrapping your Freego X2 Pro with vinyl. So vinyl wraps are kind of useful for protecting the bike from scratches, especially if you have like heavy duty vinyl or like the reflective vinyl. We have something similar on our Sur e-bike and we got that done professionally. So the wrap is like really thick and it's digitally printed. What I'm going to explain is something just like a little bit more affordable. So it's just standard vinyl with like solid colors. Another big reason why I did this was to personalize the bike, right? With colors, designs, much different from stock. So the stock version that I got was kind of this dull silver, nothing really special about it, no real colorway involved. And so I just wanted to spruce it up in a way that was really cost effective. In terms of pricing, it is cheaper and more affordable than powder coating the bike, where you have to disassemble every piece and then you have to find a place that can powder coat it. And depending on how busy they are, it might be a long turnaround. So that's probably the best option, to get powder coated to really personalize your bike. But I don't know. We're all about trying to save money here. I've had really good results with vinyl, especially on the Sur. I think I've had my wrap for maybe 3 years now with no issues. And if you decide to sell your bike or you want to change the look, all you got to do is just peel the vinyl off. You're not stuck with a painted frame. But the cons to vinyl wrapping is that you'll have to do it yourself. And if you've never wrapped a vehicle with vinyl before, it can be tricky if you don't follow the proper steps. Now, fortunately, the Freego X2 Pro doesn't have a lot of aggressive lines or curves throughout the frame. So applying the vinyl is easier than something like a Sur or, like a motorcycle with a lot of like curves and aggressive lines. So the design is pretty simple, but it did take some time to, measure and do a lot of trial and error to get it right. So basically I took measurements and then I printed on paper, put the paper on and then just made adjustments based on that. I don't have like a 3D scanner or, kind of designing it in 3D or anything like that. I really just did it all in Illustrator in a 2D format. So that's why it took time. But, that's just sort of how I like to DIY things, see if I could do it with just the tools that I have at hand. Now, one thing I want to mention is this front plate over here. So this isn't actually a template that I created. I just took some vinyl wrap, kind of cut it to the size of this plate that comes off, and just like mounted it on the plate itself, and then used an X-Acto knife to cut like the holes here and then just the holes here. You just sort of like take a sharp X-Acto, just go around it, pretty simple. Same thing over here, the edges. I found that was the easiest way to do it instead of, trying to cut an actual template based on the size. And you kind of get it, all the way around the edges and stuff like that. So that's one way to do it, or you can just hit it with some Plastidip, although that would be, just black, you know what I mean? So if you use vinyl, you could kind of use any color that you want. Other than that, the kit that I created comes with a few different pieces. So you have this, like the top left and right, which is this piece right here. And this just kind of goes on the frame like so, and then kind of tucks under over here where the plate comes off, and then it kind of tucks underneath. And then you also have the left and right of the frame, which is kind of like a strip that goes all along here, ends like right by the bottom bracket, and then continues over here on the side of the bottom bracket, and then goes all the way up like so. So you get two of those pieces. You also have the battery plate piece, and this is basically a logo delete. Now the Freego logo is like all along the plate, so adding a vinyl piece just basically deletes that, and then you could put your own logo or design. We also have left and right for the subframe, so this connects to this piece over here and then goes all along to under the seat. So when you apply it, you want to take your seat off and make sure that this goes all the way up. And then you also have the swing arm pieces left and right. So this kind of goes from, again, close to the bottom bracket, but just on the swing arm, and then hits over by the axle plate. Oh, you also have like this top piece right here. And so I measured that, and then that connects on both sides. And then like in the actual kit that I provide, I also added some extra pieces because it all fit in sort of like one, I think it was like 25 inches by something, by 40 or something like that. But using that space, you can cut more pieces out of it. So that's the reason I did that. And also if you make a mistake, you have extra pieces. Now for the orange colorway, I basically just kind of measured this space from here, to here, right? And what I wanted to do was kind of like create a design that looked like it was continuous going from the battery plate onto the frame with this like negative space right here. That's similar to what I have on the Sur-Ron, and I think it's just a little bit more dynamic. It kind of like adds just a subtle feel to the bike, like it looks like one continuous piece, and it looks like it was designed as a continuous piece. But yeah, it was pretty simple to do that. And when you apply it, you just sort of like, mount it with some painter's tape, and then you can just kind of like cut along the lines and then put it on the black vinyl. And then for the hexagon pieces, I bought these on Amazon, and these are actually reflective. So this is a reflective orange. So at night, if any cars or car headlights hit this piece, it'll light up. So, and I like the design. So that was, that's something that I did. And I also did that sort of continuous design from the plate onto the frame as well. But you could get super creative. You could do any combination of colors that you want, really. This is just an example of what you can do. And also like the angle, you see like it matches the angle of the plate. It just draws your eye and looks a little bit better than if you change the angle to the lines of the bike. It may look a little bit funky. So yeah, matching the lines of the bike just felt a little bit cleaner to me. Now let's talk about cutting the vinyl. So you can DIY it, which means you just print out the template that I provide, and then you put it on a, like a sheet of vinyl, and you trace around it, and then you just cut it with a scissor, right? That's the super budget DIY way to do it. But, it's not going to be like a crisp cut if you send it to like a local vinyl cutter, or if you send it online to a place like lettering.com. And so that's where I get all my vinyl cuts done. I did think about getting like a vinyl cutter, but I thought, I don't really do that often enough for it to make sense. And the prices on lettering.com are so competitive, and so like it just makes sense to send my cuts there, so you could get a very nice finish and a really clean cut, and you can choose pretty much any color, any vinyl material. Like you could go really heavy duty and get like the super reflective stuff I was talking about earlier. And I think you can also choose the finish, which is a plus as well. And turnaround time on lettering.com is pretty quick. So I think almost like a week. It ships from Florida. So yeah, it doesn't take long at all. Let's talk about the installation. If you've never applied vinyl to a vehicle before, I suggest you go on YouTube, just do a search. Tons of YouTube videos about how to apply vinyl on a vehicle, on a bike, on a motorcycle. So we're not going to go into that. I'll just kind of like walk through what I did. The first thing you got to do, this is important, is you got to prep the surface. So I use some alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, and I just spray the bike down, right? And I use like a cloth Make sure there's, not like a paper towel which can leave like fibers and stuff. Just something that won't leave any residue after you clean it. And spend a lot of time getting, all the dirt or any oils off the surface, because it'd be really easy for the vinyl to peel off if it's dirty. The method I like to use is like using some soap and water. So a little bit of dish soap and some warm water. And then you can kind of just like use your hands and just kind of like coat the surface with the soapy water. You can use a sponge, but I find that you don't actually really need a lot of liquid to make this work. And then when you apply the vinyl, when you peel it off the back, right? Peel the back off. When you stick it on, you could kind of shift it around, right? So that's the benefit. You're not like when you put a sticker on and then, it's off and then you got to peel it back out and then sometimes it gets damaged. So having the soapy water helps to align it. And then once you do that, you can use a squeegee or like a gift card or whatever. And then you just want to squeegee out the air bubbles and the water. And you just want to get it, so that the vinyl sticks a little bit more, right? It's still going to be a little slippery, but just take your time and just make sure you get all those air bubbles out. And if you find any air bubbles, like later on, you could just take an X-Acto knife and just pop it and then just squeeze it down. You'll get rid of it easily. Now for the angled sections, particularly over here on the frame and down here below, what I found was necessary was that, I had to kind of make a cut, just a straight cut on the vinyl, and then re-angle, reposition this piece, and then same thing over here, just like a really small cut, and then just angle it and reposition it. And just because, the curves of the bike just on this side are a little extreme, so you really need to kind of make a cut in the vinyl. And then you want to overlap it where the cut was, just so it looks seamless. And honestly, you really can't tell from far away unless you like look really close. You'll see the seam. And then again, if you see any spots where like you just need to fill in some of the gaps, you could just cut some more vinyl and then just like kind of add a little piece here to fill the gaps. Really simple, but that's just how you make it look a little bit seamless. Then once you have everything in position, you want to hit it with a heat gun. And you really want to kind of like move the gun around. You can put it on high heat, but you don't want to keep it in one place, right? Because it'll shrivel up the vinyl, it'll, burn it essentially. So you want to just like kind of wave it around, right? Get it so that the vinyl starts to stick to the bike. And then just kind of like go over it with the squeegee again or with your gift card and make sure it sticks, right? So you just want to do that across every piece. And I would do it in steps, I would do probably this part first or this part first, and then just start connecting all the pieces. But it's pretty simple and probably takes like under an hour to do. And then once you have all the graphics applied, smooth it out further while it's still warm, and then check for air bubbles. Again, you could use an X-Acto knife to pop the bubbles if you need to. And just let it cure for like 24 to 48 hours for optimal adhesion. Again, it is super cold here in Michigan, so this will take longer to cure. But if it was like the spring or summertime, you just leave it outside in the sun and it'll work its magic. One other thing I want to talk about mod-wise is this ODI number plate. We had this on the Sur-Ron. I'll put a link in the description, but you could also cut a piece of vinyl here if you wanted to, or put a sticker or add a logo. I also got a Thrill Seeker's seat cover, which is actually a seat cover made for the Sur-Ron. So it's not a perfect fit if you look close. Like some of it is just a little bit off, like doesn't go all the way down on the bottom here. That's why I put like this, some Gorilla Tape just to kind of like hide the foam that's underneath here. But it fits close enough. And this is way better grip than the stock seat cover. The stock seat cover was super slippery. You could see on our previous video, me and Sully were talking about how slippery it was. So if you're trying to practice wheelies, you'll just like slip right off. So this is a really good addition. Again, it's a Sur-Ron seat cover, so you can get it from Thrill Seekers. You can get it from any other place that makes seat covers for the Sur-Ron. Anyway, I think this really completes the look for the bike. I think we're done here. Nothing else left to do. But overall, I think the vinyl wrap for the Freego X2 Pro is mainly just for a look that feels more personal, right? On a budget. And for us, it's also about being more visible in traffic. So with these graphics now, with the colorway, it definitely gets a lot of compliments when I'm riding through the city. You know, the glossy black, the orange, it really pops more than the dull silver stock color. And in our city, like, being visible is actually positive. Now, depending on your city, if you're in a major city, you might want to be a little more low key to keep you out of trouble, but your mileage will vary on the value of a vinyl wrap kit. But for us, it made a lot of sense. And it made a lot of sense to create a kit for the community since a lot of people were asking about it. I'll put a link in the description for the Big Cartel shopping link. And it's only 10 bucks. I hope that's affordable for you guys. You know, not gonna get rich off this, obviously. So this is just really, hopefully compensate the time it took to like create the template. But you know, just hit me up if you have any questions. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, just leave them down below. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.